This is the home of the Common Joe and Common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Say that all the time and I mean it. Evidenced by the fact of this topic today that we're doing, I credit to one of my loyal listeners, Dallas Mars, asked me to do a video for the Common Joes and Sallys out there in the know about the possible expansion of the 12-team playoff. How long will these commissioners continue to drag their feet? Hopefully they don't drag their feet as long as they did before we got the BCS, which was nearly 100 years. Let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. I am the OCF. I am the Outlaw of College Football. I'm JPC. And I would like for you guys and gals to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. That's right, the big four. Subscriptions are most important. They keep me motivated, keep me up and going, and bring in more of those Common Joes and Common Sallies in the know to put us in the know. Now, getting right to it. The 12-team playoff that they're trying to push for. They're having a meeting about it this weekend. Now, I'm not really know whether I'm sold on this whole 12-team playoff notion or not yet. Yes, it's going to include more teams, and more teams will more than likely not have players sitting out, and it'll make for a interesting conversation up through December and not drag out as long as it does right now, hopefully. But the main thing from what I've been reading on a lot of these articles about this meeting that's taking place is that a lot of these commissioners they disagree on having an automatic qualifier for a conference championship. And let me tell you why that they disagree with a team winning a Power 5 conference championship getting an automatic bid. Here's the reason why. It's real simple. What if, for example, a Northwestern team at 8-4 made the title game in the Big Ten and they somehow pulled off an upset of an undefeated Ohio State team? Well, at that point, Northwestern, who's nowhere near the top 12, would get an automatic bid at 9-4. And then more than likely, Ohio State would get a bid as well, giving them two teams in the 12-team playoff undeservedly. Now, if you got two great teams that are both undefeated, playing the conference championship game, and one of them slides in the playoffs, that's fine. But a team with 4 losses does not deserve a bid, because then you go into this crap like you have in the NCAA basketball tournament where there's way too many teams in that. And you'll have someone from the Summit League, like a Cleveland State, get hot and get in with a 13-17 record or some shit. That's not what it should be about. If you're going to let conference champions get in, or if you're going to get the best team from that conference, let them have an automatic bid, I'm okay with that. Because automatically Ohio State would have the best record and they would get in. So what they probably need to do, and they may not do this, but if they go to a 12-team playoff, they might allocate the money a little bit better to where they could do this, is they probably need to do away with the conference championship games. And then you could have an automatic bid from each conference, and you would get the best team, and not some team that gets lucky that maybe Ohio State's starting running back and quarterback are out of the game with some COVID bullshit, and you'd get the right team in the playoff. And that's been the big hang-up, is the whole automatic qualifier thing from what I'm reading. And it's just silly, man. They're dragging their feet. If you just go ahead and say it's about the best 12 teams, more than likely, everybody from the Power 5 conferences are going to have at least one team in. So what you're doing is basically dragging your feet, and what's going to happen is you're going to be stuck with the 4-team playoff until the renegotiation of the contracts happens. I think it's 2026. So, if you want to give yourself more access, Pac-12, Big Ten, ACC, Big 12, SEC, all of you. If you want to give yourself more access as Power 5 conferences, then go ahead and get this shit done, man. It's not that hard. If the common Joes and common Sallys out there can see it, then why can't you see it? I'm still flabbergasted as my life as a college football fan why it took so long to just get to the 2-team playoff that we have with the BCS. What they should do also is go back to the BCS formula in ranking these teams, because when you get a committee of 12 or 13 people, and I know that's a lot of people, but man, there's just too much room for corruption with human error like that. If you go back to the BCS usually got it right for the most part. So if you go back to the BCS formula, instead of the BCS formula ranking the top 2, it ranks the top 12. How can that not be realized, and how easy it would be to get this thing done? Now, the other question is, do we really want to expand? Now, Nick Saban's talking about how, you got the best 4 teams and the playoff games ended up the way they were, and now you got the best 2, because more times than not, these semifinal games have not been really close in the end. Is basically, I think, what he's hinting around about. But I can see both sides of it. You got a team like, for example, Utah this year. They got really hot at the end of the year and could have made some noise maybe in the playoff if they'd got in like in the 11th or 10th spot, maybe 9th or 8th spot even. And another thing, the first round of the playoffs. What you're going to have is the top 4 teams. Because if you don't, you're going to have people setting out games at the end of the year like the NFL. The top 4 teams get a bye in the first round. And the bottom 8 that get in play a first round game on campus on the higher seeds' home field or wherever they agree upon. And then after that, you'll have it down to 8 teams. And then you'll play another weekend of games. In my opinion, this was what should happen. You play another weekend of games at the higher seeds' home field. Like if you got down to 8 teams and Utah got in and Alabama was ranked number 1, Utah would travel to Tuscaloosa, or vice versa. If Utah was ranked number 1, Alabama would travel to Salt Lake City. And then, when you get down to the Final Four, that's when you go to neutral site games. Because if you do all this crap that they're talking about doing about, including all these other bowls, like the freaking, the Outback Bowl and the Citrus Bowl and the Capital One Bowl and a Gator Bowl and Liberty Bowl, you include all them bowls, man, I just don't see the attendance being that good. People are not going to have the money to do all that traveling around Christmas time. They're not going to have the money to do that. So to have it as home games the first 2 rounds and then the Final 4 be at neutral sites like it is now would make the most sense financially for the fans. And it would be better on the players too, that they don't have to travel as much possibly. Especially for the higher ranked teams, to give them an incentive to finish in the top 4. And that's all I got to say about that. You guys and gals, tell me what you think about this whole situation. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams.